Welcome to Time to Teach with Tami, the podcast that gives tips, advice, and suggestions to teachers by a real teacher. So sit back and enjoy. And oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so welcome back to Time to Teach, and I have an exciting treat for you all today. I have the one and only Miss Daynna Quintero. She is the assistant here in my classroom. So,
Hi,
Daynna.
guys.
Hi. Now, Daynna, you and I have been working how long? Have we been working together now?
We've been working together about 4 years.
And let's see now let's give the audience a little bit of like backstory to you. So you are you're not originally from California. You were born here.
Yeah, I was born in Mexico. I was taken to Simi Valley, California when I was about a year old, and I came back when I was 20. And now I'm living in Mexico, and I really like it.
And you've been here I guess it's 4 years or 5 years?
5 years.
Yes. Oh, I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay, and so audience, when I first met Daynna, she actually started to work as a monitor, which is just someone who works with a student, pretty much just helping them in whatever areas they need throughout the day. So we have worked a lot and know each other very well.
Yes, we do.
So today, Daynna, I've been doing a series all about like positive climate and have done several episodes about like how to set up the classroom to be positive. And I thought you would be a really good person to have on the podcast because, well, the experience that you have, and that maybe we can just kind of talk about like how we create a positive climate. And maybe one of the first things we can talk about is, I've mentioned this several times on the podcast, so audience, if you've been following along, you'll probably know this. Otherwise, this could be new, but we teach pre-first, which is the very first year of elementary in our section. So they're coming in really not knowing how to, operate in an elementary classroom. Everything is brand new to them. Everything is scary to them. So with that comes very high emotions, and that's pretty much what we deal with in the beginning of the school year. So we sometimes have kids who hesitate to even come into the classroom. Like They might leave and run away. It's not always that drastic, but sometimes it is.
Or cry for like 15 minutes.
Cry.
Even 3 weeks later.
Yep, cry. And actually that's something that we have been dealing with right now is kids, and this happens every year, kids who maybe initially did not cry, now that we are in the ends of week 3, kids are beginning to cry because they feel that the days are very, very long. So I thought maybe we can talk a little bit about those beginning weeks when the kids are coming in and they're very emotional, and we're trying to just kind of like make them feel safe, get them adjusted. So what are some of the things that we do to kind of just help them as they come in? If we can just think maybe like that first day, the first couple of days.
Well, first of all, we want to make them feel like they're at home. We don't want to make them feel like they're coming, even though they are coming to a new area, and have them feel uncomfortable or, make them nervous. Some of them cry. Some of them are just like not happy about the change because they're used to having someone do everything for them. Tie their shoes, give them their lunch, take them to the bathroom. So it's definitely it's a rough change for them because once they get to pre-first elementary, they start doing things on their own. They start going to the bathroom on their own. They have to be responsible, and that's a big step. That's a really big step. First of all, they go to the bathroom, and sometimes they even like lock themselves inside because they don't even know how to take the lock off.
That has happened several times this year, by the way.
Yes, and we're only on week 3, and we have to teach them how to do everything. This year, like in pre-first, we don't tie their shoes, so it's another different and very hard thing for them because they come up to you and expect you to tie their shoes. First of all, we want to teach them that they have to do things on their own, but we don't want to start off rough. So what we're trying to do is do things step by step. We don't like reinforce the rules right away. We're very, very flexible with them. If they're out of their space, if they're talking, we're going to give them like a couple of chances. Actually, we've even had to give a few kids how many opportunities? Like 5 or 6 opportunities.
Because 5, 6, or a million.
Yes. we don't want to punish them right away because if they feel like they're already being punished, especially on week 3, they're not going to feel comfortable throughout the whole year. So our plan is for them to feel comfortable, to feel like they're at home, because we have had kids tell us like, oh, you're our second mom because we're here like almost the whole day and then we go to mom. So we want to make them feel comfortable.
I like something that you touched on about making everything feel like very familiar and home-like. And actually, this is something that I touched on in a previous episode, and I don't remember which episode it is now. But when I was talking about setting up the whole classroom environment, one thing that I touched on is actually trying to make it very home-like. And of course, that can be challenging, especially if, say, you don't necessarily have all the resources. I expressed in that episode that I'd like to get like some lamps and like really make it look like truly like home. And I get what you're saying, like make it feel like home, which I think is very important. That the climate has a home feeling. I'd also like to make like the physical environment a little more home-like as well. But it is what you're saying very important because they're coming from kinder. And in kinder, for the audience to know, because this could be different, but they have their own bathrooms, right? In the classroom, I think. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So they have their own bathrooms.
They don't have locks.
So they're not used to that.
They clean up. In kinder, they clean up after their mess. They actually, after they're done eating in class, the teacher is the one that cleans the table. So over here in elementary, it's a little different. So we don't want to make it feel so different. The first week we do help them, like the first couple weeks, we do help them tie their shoes because we don't want to be like, no, you're in pre-first, we're not tying your shoes anymore. No, but after a couple weeks, we're like, okay, you need to start, you need to know how to tie your shoes by now.
And that's actually one of their first homework assignments too.
Yes.
Actually, it has been since week 1, right? Mm-hmm. Since that first parent meeting, so that they're practicing it, so they know that we're helping them with these things, but that they are working towards independence so that eventually these will be things that they do on their own. And we have conversations with them too so that they know, okay, we're helping you with this right now, but they know that the end plan is that little by little they're going to get to that independent part themselves.
What we try to do is plan calming or relaxing activities, math with chips, with cubes. That way they don't feel it so hard on them. We also do fun activities using whiteboard markers on the tables, which is really, really fun for them. It's different, so they really enjoy it. Also, when we do word work, we do it with Play-Doh the first couple of weeks. That way they feel like they're not, it's not like a very hard transition.
Yeah, I feel like all of those activities that we do just it really helps them to transition into pre-first. So while they're still oftentimes academic, not all of them, like in the afternoon, especially week 1, we gave them like some activities that really were not academic, but a lot of them are, but it's in a very calm way that doesn't like demand too much from them academically. So yeah.
Yeah, and I also feel like we start getting to know the kids more. That's when we start getting, we start seeing like their cues and some of them like to work really fast. Some of them are really perfectionist, and we just get to know the kids by doing those little activities, which are fun. But some of them, even though they're just fun activities like Play-Doh, some of them take it really serious and can't even get upset for not spelling a word right with Play-Doh.
Daynna, you're picking up on a really important point that I've addressed in a previous episode about like getting to know them, and also about establishing classroom community. So in a previous episode, I talked about how those first few weeks are so vital, that we're setting up the whole relationship. Even when we're building classroom community, my last episode was all about let's not forget what those activities are, because I feel some of us go in there and we're all about all of these activities that we're doing to build classroom community, which is good. But I think sometimes there's a hyper focus on the activity, forgetting that at the heart of all this, those activities are about really building solid relationships. So I like that you're speaking to that, because I feel like that's what we're really doing those first few weeks is, and that's how we establish that classroom community, is getting to know the kids and building on the relationship. Maybe we can take a moment to talk about that.
Yeah, we definitely don't start the color system the first couple weeks, and when we do start it, we try not to focus too much on it.
Yeah, let's take a moment to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I've expressed...
Hot topic.
It's a hot topic. I have expressed this to my audience, that it was my hope that I would be at a place right now where I could move away from it, and I'm just not quite there, because I want to make sure that I have all systems in place, and I really wanted this year to be the year, but I'm just not quite yet ready. And we have been talking about how to really de-emphasize the colors so that students, are really understand that there's the behavior is what we need to address, and that there's a consequence. So, audience, since if you listen to the episode, you already are familiar with the struggle. If you haven't, now you are. But actually, what's happened, was this our first week, Daynna, that we said we were going to start doing colors, moving colors?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've noticed, and I want to find out from you, two kids have moved their colors, once or something?
Yeah,
or
actually once, and we moved their color down once after the third warning, because we don't want to make them feel afraid. We don't want to make them feel afraid because it's a very long year. It's only the second or third week of school, so we don't want it to be a long, hard year. And actually, after we had them move their color down, it did help. But what we try to do is avoid the color system, because we just don't want other kids to see, that one kid is having to move his color down and that he's going to have to stay in for recess. And,
yeah.
I mean, it's embarrassing for kids, and even though we try
then they pick up on it. Even today, I heard someone make an announcement, a student announce that someone was on red. And actually, I don't think that student was on red, right?
Yeah, nobody's been on red. Yeah. No, and even when we make it really discreet, because when we have to talk to someone about maybe lowering their voice or settling down, I tell the kids to lower their voice and stuff. I try to do it in a very discreet way, but even yet, the kids pick up on those type of things.
Yeah, they do.
Sometimes if I have a kid doodling around during carpet time, instead of moving his clip down, I tell him, go sit at a chair, because we really want them to just focus on their learning. We don't want to punish them because they can't sit down.
Which at this age is very difficult, because they're basically 5 and 6 years old.
Yeah.
So sitting quietly for a long period of time is not really their strong suit now.
Also, I want to make a point. I almost feel like sometimes we don't have kids participate because they don't want to talk, because I feel like they think that if we see them talking, we're just going to punish them and have them move their clip down. So sometimes they don't even talk and they rather not participate. So that's another thing we're really trying to avoid. And also, I almost feel like we don't solve problems by moving clips down, because you really just tell a kid, move your clip down. That's it. But
and then they feel sad, and it becomes not so much about their behavior, it starts becoming more about their color. But I guess what I was wondering is, because we've started this week, we've actually only had a few kids who had to move their colors. And I'm actually feeling a lot better, because first I was feeling very disappointed because I'm not at a place where I can walk fully away from the color system. So I was wondering how this was going to work. But now I'm seeing, even though we're utilizing it, very few kids, like I feel like they're picking up on some of the other things, like earning group points, earning Starbucks. And if I have explained to the audience before, but I know there's a lot of controversy about rewards, especially if we look at Alfie Kahn's work. He talks about kids are punished by rewards. I don't know, but that if we give rewards like that, that all of a sudden they're only doing things for the reward. So yes, audience, I understand that that is very controversial, but I really have found, like I explained in my other episode with the whole Starbucks, it's kind of like, almost think of it, it's like it's currency in our class. There are really great benefits because the kids get to count it. Then on Friday, they get to go to the store. They get to spend their money. They spend their money on, first of all, going to the bathroom. That costs Starbucks. Then to enter Friday Fun Time, that costs...
Play with the iPad. And it's also not normal games. It's like math games or reading stuff. Yeah.
So I feel like, yes, while I understand that the whole rewards, there is controversy, and there are people who are in that camp of, no, we just do it to do it. I do see the benefits in doing things like earning group points, getting Starbucks, and because I think there is an academic side. Maybe there's a better way, but I have found that at least positive as opposed to the colors.
Yeah, and I also want to clarify something. Our rewards are different. We don't have candy in the reward box. Yeah, we don't have candy. We don't have toys. We don't have things that are going to distract them. What we have are jobs, like, you get to clean the board for a week.
And they love it. So
yeah, they really love it.
It's that would be a specific job for a young learner. So if you're a teacher of like an older student, obviously you know that your student wouldn't be motivated. This is a specific kind of reward for the younger students, but they actually love that. What other tickets do we have, Miss Daynna, that they can purchase?
They can sit on a beanbag for a day. And the other word is moving clips up to green, which they don't have to do often because it's not.
I actually pulled that out of our box because I'm like, if we're not doing the clips so much, I wasn't sure how to do that.
Yeah.
So
we have that one.
I forgot to tell you that I pulled that out.
No, it's okay. We also have the food one. So they get to bring a healthy snack, and it has to be healthy. No chips, no candy. It can only be vegetables or a fruit or maybe like a granola bar. Also, we don't let them bring in flavored water. So no Kool-Aid, no.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, no Jamaica horchata or none of that. No.
Because I'll explain to our audience, they probably don't know, but it's interesting. In the Mexican culture, their flavored waters, they just call agua, water, right? So when I say water, I think of natural water, or in Spanish would be agua natural. That's how you distinguish it. But if you just say agua, water in Spanish, that can be horchata, that can be Jamaica, it can be any kind of flavored water that has sugar in it. So we have to actually distinguish that because they call all of those flavored waters just water. Yeah,
I think it's a really good rule that we have that it's just water. One,
we don't need to add all that extra sugar.
Yeah, no extra sugar. One, it's not going to go bad, and two, I just feel like they need to drink more water and not get used to drinking soda as if it were water. So that's another ticket. Another ticket that we have is the food one, and it can just be healthy snacks, and they can have water.
Let's see, did you mention that cleaning the whiteboard? That's also one that they love to do. These are basically things that the kids love to do anyway. They ask, hey, can I clean off the whiteboard? Hey, can I pass out the math journal. So what we ended up doing, and I guess that's really not like a reward because they actually have to purchase those tickets with their Starbucks.
They have to earn them. They have to earn them, but they really, really like it.
Yeah, they love it because those are things. What we did is we kind of brainstormed what are the things that the students are naturally asking. So even if you are an educator of like an older student, middle school or high school, you can think about what are they already asking to do, and those can be.
Yeah, exactly. I think. Actually, no, I don't think. I know everything that we do. We try to match what we're doing in class. During Funtime Friday, we have an art station. But, I mean, we don't just throw out glitter. And, I mean, we do have fun in class. Yes, we do.
Like glitter.
But, yeah. But
I won't touch glitter. Miss Daynna is braver than I am.
Yeah.
I will not touch it.
She will not touch it.
I don't even want to look at it. Keep the glitter far away.
Yeah. we try to do is, even, like, during Funtime Friday, when we have an art station, I'm going to give you guys an example. If we're on the animal unit, what we try to do is we print out maybe animal pictures, and then they can write something about an animal, and they can like color it or paint it or put glitter on
like
it.
An animal
but
habitat.
still matching. Yeah, it's still matching what our unit. So we try not to get out of our units at our daily routines. That way they're learning in a lot of different ways, and I think it's very important, and it's also fun for them.
Yeah, they enjoy it. They look forward to that. They really do.
And another thing that we do in pre-first is give them jobs. So I really like this because it makes them responsible.
And this is big for the parents too, because actually they come here and they are very reluctant sometimes to like they'll come and they want to help get the kids changed for swimming and
because they think they're too little, and the sports teacher said no, because they have to learn how to change on their own, and they have to learn at some point, and also that they have to do it quick, because if not they're going to have less swimming time. And the moms are like, but they're too little. They're babies. And we're like, they're not babies. I mean, they're 6 years old.
Yeah, there's a lot they can do on their own. And we actually have to have that. Well, tonight we'll be talking about that because the day that we're recording right now, and actually this has been broken up over at least 2 days that we've been doing this recording. But today, as I record, the 1st of September 2017, it's open house. So those are going to be some of the things that we explain to the parents, like please help your child be independent, have him or her take out his or her library book from the backpack alone, because otherwise they get very used to the parent. So we're really working in this first year of elementary to build independence, but it also means kind of somewhat training the parents. I guess not so much training them, but having being very explicit about how they can help to build that independence, and that we're actively trying to build independence this year.
Yes, but we just want them to be more independent. So giving them jobs, I think really helps. We have a cleaner, we have a leader, a name checker, and a material manager. So what a cleaner does is after they're done working on whatever they're working on, obviously every kid has to put their stuff away. But if there's some trash on the floor, if there's some stuff on the table, the cleaner has to pick it up. Then we have a leader. A leader basically takes over any job if that kid is not there. So let's just say Valerie didn't come to school today and she's a name checker. So the leader takes over her job. And the leader also just helps, will help the other 3 jobs. Then we have a name checker. In pre-first, they're not so used to putting their name on their paper. Some of them, are just not, I almost feel like this generation is just not putting their name on their papers at all.
Yeah, it's true. We have to keep, now that we have the name checker, we give them their jobs very slowly. So we introduce material manager first, then leader, and then we added on the other jobs. We have to take everything slowly because we're working, these are students who speak at least 2 languages. some of them speak more than two, but in this class, I think it's just two languages. So understanding what we're even saying can be challenging. So we do things very slowly. But now that we have the name checker job, all the jobs are implemented. Now the name checker takes on that responsibility.
Yeah, and the material manager is one that just gets all the materials that they need. So if in math they need cubes or the chips, they go for the cubes or for the chips. And sometimes they try to give those jobs, the material manager job, to the most distracted kid. That way that we have that kid paying attention, so he is not like spaced out the whole time. But we usually try to give that job to those kids that seem to space out a little bit more.
And maybe who need like to be up and moving around a little more. It kind of helps.
Yeah. Right now that you said moving around, we're very flexible on the seating. Everybody has a carpet square, and they have an assigned carpet square. But we have some kids that do move around a lot and distract their neighbors. Or they just can't stay on task, or maybe they're not even distracting their neighbors, but they're moving around and they're upside down.
Yeah, that actually happens.
Yeah,
like
literally.
Let's sit on our bottom.
Yeah, literally.
I feel like that's a constant reminder.
Yeah,
sit on our bottoms.
Yeah, so we tell those kids, and it's only about two, so we don't. It's not like we have 10 kids sitting at the tables. So we have about like 2 kids that are doodling around the whole time during carpet time. And we're very flexible with them, and we will tell them, like, if you ever need, like, if you ever feel like you want to go sit at your seat and listen to Miss Tami or me teach from your desk, then go ahead. And I feel like it works way better than when they're actually sitting down. Because when they're sitting down, they're going in circles, they're playing around, they're bothering their neighbors, and when they come to the table, they're sitting down, and even if they have their feet up on the table, they're listening.
Yeah, which we've had. Yeah, and I know that this is something that can be very difficult. Like some teachers are it's easier for them to, okay, whatever, that's fine. But then others who maybe it's a little more challenging to not see, quote unquote, not see the kid who's in his or her chair with the feet kicked up. But I guess our personal feelings is that if a student can learn that way, then why not? I mean,
yeah, but I also feel like talking to some of my colleagues that they feel like when a kid is not moving around, they're not listening. But I have to say that one of our kids that doesn't sit at his carpet square seems to be like one of our highest kids.
Yeah.
Today I was walking by, and he was already counting to 65, and then he came up to me during Writer's Workshop and said, "How do you spell like?" And I was like, "Oh, well, this is how you spell like." And I was like, "Well, the way you wrote it is fine for now, because I mean it's only the 3rd week."
Yeah.
And he spelled like Laik, almost like. And he
we close. In Spanish, everything is pretty much phonetic. So what we get is a lot of kids when they sound it out, we get a lot of Spanish spelling in it.
Yeah,
so they're spelling it the way that it sounds to them, and for us, that's fine.
Yeah, and then he also had a letter for his mom, and he was working on it. He was talking and making a lot of sounds, kept moving around, and if you were to come in, you're like, that kid is not working. But I walked over there, and I was like, "Tami, did you help him?" I was so shocked with his work.
Yep.
His writing was great. His letters were very, very nice. Like, we usually don't care about, like, it's not that we don't care about the letters. They don't have to be perfect. As long as they're learning, as long as they're writing, they're feeling comfortable writing.
When they get to the high frequency words, we won't start teaching until next week. But so once we get to the high frequency words, we will ask them, look at the word wall and spell it, since it's one that we're really practicing on reading and writing correctly. But all of the other like vocabulary words, we want them to sound out because they come in as non-writers. So if you're a teacher of young students, you probably know that's part of the writing process, is actually starting to hear all those sounds in the word, so they have to start hearing those sounds and connecting letters to it. So that's why we actually want them to go through the work of doing that, because it helps them through the writing and the reading process.
Yeah, which is a very hard process
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
I had a kid. she was like, how do you spell apple? And I said, well, let's send it out. Apple. She goes, oh, okay, I. So you have to have a lot of patience because when you're teaching in another language, they seem to mix up like the sounds and the letters together.
Especially the vowels of the two languages. Miss Daynna, I'm so sorry. I think I cut you off because you were trying to make a point about our student who wasn't paying any attention, and then he wrote something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think I cut you off, sorry.
Okay, so sometimes we think that those kids are the ones that are not listening, but we're very flexible about that. If they want to go sit down, they can go sit down. And I mean, if someone came in, they probably would have judged him.
Yeah.
And he almost seems like he's going to be one of the highest kids, and it doesn't seem like it. Like he's like the whole time during carpet time, he's making a sound, and I tell him like 20 times. And he's not
looking anywhere at like what's happening.
Yeah,
he's kind
exactly.
of like he's looking all over.
Yeah, he's not sitting down. He's making sounds. He's not even letting like Miss Tami talk. He has his jacket over his head. And even at recess, he comes and tells me like everything, and then it's just like, so I would have thought something else. So that's why even at the beginning of the year, when we get like feedback from their last year teacher, we don't ever try to even like listen to any comments because
we don't like to make those judgments up front. We really like to get to know the students first because it's like,
first of all, they're more mature.
Yes,
they're more mature.
They're more mature than they were the year before.
Yeah, and then also I feel like it also depends on how they felt in their classroom.
And then exactly. And it's like you don't know if it was like, was there a dynamic in the classroom that would explain whatever behaviors they saw. So it's I personally, I know a lot of teachers do enjoy that information. I personally don't really, unless it's like really, if it's a student who has special and specific needs, our support service department will give that to me, and I feel like that's all I really need. Are there accommodations that the student needs? What is it that I personally need to help the student? Aside from that, I'm not interested. Not that I'm not interested, but I'm kind of not, because I really want...
Because they come in and they're different.
We want a blank slate, basically. We just want a blank slate.
And then some kids are different with one teacher than they are with another teacher, so that has a lot to do with that. I mean, but I feel like we're building a pretty good class.
Yes, we are, and that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're in the third week, and they're already feeling really comfortable. They're
working really well. They're already getting into the routines and procedures.
Catching up on everything, and I think we're doing good.
Yeah, I think so. And all of those things, even though the specifics might be different for you, audience, in your classroom, some of the important things are things that we really believe help to build a positive classroom climate, like really working on relationships with the students.
Yes.
The other thing that we touched on was like being flexible. And I know as teachers that can be very difficult, but really being flexible and giving the students room to learn in their own special ways. If it's in my chair with my feet kicked up, maybe that doesn't look so great, but if they're actually listening and learning, whatever that specific need is. And other thing that Ms. Daynna, you pointed out, that independence, building
very important.
Building that independence, especially at the younger age, and giving them different jobs and duties, because that's how they really feel like they're part of the classroom. So I guess that's going to conclude our interview for today. This was just kind of like us talking about different ways that we build classroom community in our own classroom. So hopefully you were able to take something away from it. And Miss Daynna, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Tami, for inviting me.
You're very welcome. And I hope one day you will come on again.
Of course. I really enjoyed doing this.
Okay. Thank you. And bye-bye. Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Before you go, don't forget you can catch our show notes online at www.timetoteach.libsyn. That's libsyn.com. We're also on Facebook at Time to Teach. Don't forget to check out our Facebook group, Teachers for Effective Curriculum. And if you're an educator with your own podcast show, I invite you to join our brand new Facebook group, Teachers Who Podcast. Let's grow a community where we can network, problem solve, and discuss anything and everything podcast related. I'll see you there.